Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Real Independent Talk, where we break down what's really happening in the economy, work, and policy without the spin. And today we're talking about something that feels completely backwards to a lot of people right now. Big companies make reckless decisions. They get bailed out. Regular people fall behind. They get punished. And right now, that contrast couldn't be clearer. While corporations are protected when they fail, there's renewed talk, especially under Trump's proposals, about garnishing wages for people who defaulted on student loans. Same economy, very different rules. Let's break this down. First, what is a bailout? A bailout is when the government steps in with taxpayer-backed money to prevent a major company or industry from collapsing. We've seen it over and over. Banks in 2008, auto manufacturers, airlines during COVID. These companies weren't told to figure it out. They weren't forced to sell assets or skip meals. They were rescued because they were labeled too big to fail. Now here's what that phrase really means. It doesn't mean the company is morally important. It means its failure would ripple through jobs, retirement accounts, supply chains, the stock market. So the government steps in to protect the system, but here's the problem. The system gets protected before the people inside it do. Now let's look at the other side. Student loan borrowers. Millions of Americans took on student debt believing it was the only path to stability. Then tuition exploded, wages didn't, cost of living surged. Many fell behind. And now, instead of relief, restructuring, or protection, the solution being discussed is wage garnishment. That means money taken directly from paychecks. No negotiation, no bankruptcy protection, no too big to fail label. Just pay up or else. Let that sink in. A bank can gamble and get rescued. A corporation can mismanage billions and get a lifeline. But a nurse, a contractor, a teacher, or a tradesman struggling with student loans, they get docked. And here's the contradiction no one likes to talk about. When corporations fail, we say, if we don't save them, the economy collapses. But when people fail, we say, that's personal responsibility. Same economy, different standards. Now, defenders of garnishment argue this. You signed the loan, you owe the money. And that's true. But here's what's also true. Corporations sign contracts too. Banks took risks knowingly. Airlines spent billions on stock buybacks instead of savings. Yet when they fail, responsibility becomes collective. When individuals fail, responsibility becomes punitive. And this hits independent contractors especially hard. No automatic protections, no guaranteed income, no safety nets. A garnishment doesn't just hurt. It destabilizes your entire life. But instead of asking, why is the system pushing people to the edge? The response is, enforce harder. So what's the real issue here? It's not about Trump. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. It's about who the system is designed to save first. Corporations are seen as economic infrastructure. People are seen as replaceable. And that's a dangerous way to run a country. Imagine if we treated people the way we treat corporations. Imagine temporary payment pauses during economic shocks. Income-based restructuring that actually works. Protection before punishment. Stability before enforcement, because an economy doesn't collapse when people are supported, it collapses when they're squeezed. So the real question isn't, should student loans be repaid? The real question is, why does failure at the top get forgiveness, while failure at the bottom gets garnishment? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns that connect the dots between policy, power, and real life, subscribe, because understanding the system is the first step to surviving it. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week with a new video.